Welcome back to the High School Kids program. Today we're doing Yud Zayin of the Biz. The outline of the Gemara has three main points. First is the Nazir Mitzorah, who are allowed to cut their hair on Chol Moed. Does that matter if they had chance beforehand? Second is we're going to analyze a Brisa that discusses the mourner and a Kohen that are allowed to cut their hair, and we'll discuss how it contrasts with the Mishnah and the cases that it's discussing. And then last, we're going to discuss the extenuating circumstances of the Mishnah and how they apply to mourning. The Gemara begins, that a Nazir and Mitzorah, when they become purified, are allowed to cut their hair on Chol Moed. Rabbi Yirmi asked the question from Rizera, does it matter that they had no chance to cut their hair before the regel, or they're allowed to cut their hair even if they had a chance before the regel? And the logic is, if they had a chance, they should have done before, and if they didn't, then the rabbis made a gzera that they shouldn't delay and leave it for Chol HaMoed, and they wouldn't be allowed to cut their hair on Chol HaMoed. I'm related to Nino. We have a brisa that teaches the following: everybody's in extenuating circumstances allowed to cut their hair on Chol HaMoed. But it's only talking about when they didn't have a chance. If they had a chance, they're not allowed. The exception are Nazir and Mitzorah. They're allowed to cut their hair even though they had no chance, even though they had a chance. Why? This is why they shouldn't delay their korbanos, because in order for them to bring their korbanos, they have to cut their hair. Tana, we have another brisa that we're going to analyze and compare to our Mishnah. The Kohen and the mourner are allowed to cut their hair on Chol Moed, and our Mishnah doesn't mention that. We're going to explain exactly what is the case and what's the contrast. What's the case of the mourner? Let's say it was the 8th day after the burial, fell out on Erev Regel, the day before Yantiv. Well, he should have cut his hair on the day before the Yantiv, and they shouldn't be able to cut his hair on Chol Moed. What's the reason for this? Because someone who's in mourning 7 days, comes the 8th day, he's not going to be in Shloshim. And even during Shloshim, the first 30 days, he's not allowed to cut his hair. However, Regel, Yantiv, comes and knocks out the idea of mourning. It can knock out Shloshim or it can knock out Regel, depends on when it falls. If it falls when the person's in Shloshim, so then the Regel knocks out the Shloshim, and then he'll be allowed to cut his hair. Since the 8th day came on Erev Regel, so his 8th day of mourning is going to be the beginning of Shloshim, and is going to be knocked out by the Regel, and therefore he should cut his hair before the Regel, and therefore it's going to be forbidden on Chol Moed. So why would the Brisa say it's mutter? Maybe the case is rather it was a Shabbos that fell on that was Erev Regel, and seemingly he shouldn't be able to cut his hair, and therefore he should be able to cut his hair on Chol Moed. This is not the case. Erev Shabbos, he should be able to cut his hair on Friday. How so? Damarav Chizdamar and Ravina Barshila. Halacha Abishal. We follow Abishal, who says, really, we say Mixayom Kukulo. You're allowed to cut your hair even on the 7th day, because the morning of the 7th day is like the end of the 7 days of Shiva. And then Shloshim begins, and then the Regel comes and wipes out the Shloshim, and then he can cut his hair even on the 7th day. And not only that, and then in this case, the 8th day is Shabbos, so Friday is 7 days, so therefore he's allowed to cut his hair. Not only that, but even the rabbis who disagree with Abishal and generally don't say Mixayom Kukulo would allow in this case, because since it's going to be full 7 days before Shabbos, and then comes Shabbos, and he's not going to be allowed to cut his hair because it's Shabbos, and then comes the Regel, and he's not going to be able to cut his hair because of the Regel, so the rabbis were more lenient to say Mixayom Kukulo, he can cut his hair on Friday, covered Shabbos. The 8th day falls on Shabbos, Erev Regel, Shabbos, he's allowed to cut his hair on Friday. So then it would come out, if he should cut his hair beforehand, he's not allowed on Chol Moed. Rather, the case must be lo stricha. The case is necessary for shechal sheishilo liyo b'Shabbos Erev Regel. In the case of Shabbos on Erev Regel, 7th day of the morning, and therefore Tana Bara, the brisa that we're discussing over here, the outside brisa that we're discussing on our page, says like Abishal. And therefore, since it was 7 days, we consider part of the like the whole day Yom Shvi. We consider the 7th day, the 7th day, which is Shabbos in this case, to be the end of the Shiva and beginning the Shloshim. Comes the Regel and knocks out the Shloshim. And therefore, in theory, he would be able to cut his hair even on Shabbos because the morning was over. Given to Shabbos Have, but since it was Saturday and Shabbos, I was can't cut his hair because of the Malacha. So onus is considered an extenuating circumstance, and therefore comes Chol Moed, he's allowed to cut his hair. Tan done, however, our mission that doesn't allow this is Savar Kama Kirabana Damri Lomri Noisayam Kukulo. Our mission, which does not allow the mourner to cut his hair in such a case, would say that we don't want to mix Yom Kukulo. Everybody has to have full 7 days before the Shloshim can begin, and therefore the 7th day was Shabbos. Kati Lo Shalim Able to Shiva, he's not allowed to cut his hair on Chol Moed because his Shloshim is still going on, and his 7 days didn't finish until 7 days walk before the regal, which was on Shabbos. Hi, Kohen Hilchid was the case of the Kohen as goes here according to the Brisa. Even Mishalim Mishmar to every regal. Maybe it's the case where the person who is one of the Kohanim on duty to bring korbanos that week, called Anshe Mishmar, and if he's not allowed to cut his hair during that time, so this way he would cut his hair and look kempt, look nice before. So if it finished Erev Regel the day before, so then he should cut his hair before the Regel, therefore he should have no permission to do so on Chol Moed. Rather the case must be maybe he finished the service of Korbanos during the Chol Moed, therefore he had no chance beforehand, never should be allowed on Chol Moed. Tan Didan, our Mishnah, which says it's forbidden, what's the Svara? Why would that be? Kivin did not. We have a Mishnah that tells us the following: that all Kohanim usually have 1 week a year that they're on guard to bring the korbanos. That's called the Anshe Mishmar. However, they're 3 times a year, 3 times a year that Hayu Kol Mishmar Shavo, that all the Mishmar would have equal opportunity to bring the certain parts of the korbanos called a murim, the raised up parts of the regel, a murim have regalim, that each one have a part to bring the regal korbanos. The chilek al each one have a share in the lachem apanim. That was specifically on the shlosh regalim, and therefore, since this person had the Anshe Mishmar duty before the regal, and then came the regal, and he had the global duty of Anshe Mishmar of all Kohanim on the regal, so then he wasn't able to cut his hair beforehand because of regular Anshe Mishmar, and then continued into the regal having a different type of Mishmar during the regal. It's like he never finished his Mishmeret, his watch, even though the regal came. The Tanabara, however, the Brisa that we're discussing on our page, the outside Brisa that permitted it for the Kohen, even though he is connected to the Mishmeret of the global Mishmeret, his personal Mishmeret was finished, and therefore he should be able to cut his hair on Chol Moed. We could use the circumstances of the Mishnah and allow people who in mourning have similar extenuating circumstances, like they came overseas or came out of jail, to cut their hair during mourning. But we have a different version that says forbidden number of Chizdam, Rav Shila Kitanya Hacha, Mutar, and Mishach Bueval. Rav says the case where it's permitted is talking about where he had 2 series of avelos. The person was mourning for a relative, and then a different relative passed away. Then he has a doubled up mourning, and we permit him to cut his hair. Only when he has the extenuating circumstances of the Mishnah as well. The Gemara says, wait a second, that doesn't make sense, because if he had a double series of avelos, why does it have to be the cases of extenuating circumstances of the Mishnah? Everybody should be allowed to cut their hair for double avelos, as we know in the Brisa, the Tanya. Someone who has double avelos is allowed to cut his hair with a razor or clean his clothing with water. It says the Gemara now. Ha'imar Allah, but it was stated about that. Amar Chizda, Betar v'lo Mr. Ryan, b'mayim v'lo b'neter v'lo ba'al. The statement of Chizda qualifies that which is the person who has a double avelos is allowed to do. He's only allowed to use a razor, which is abnormal way to cut his hair, and not a scissor. And he's only allowed to clean his clothing with water and not with any detergent or soap. However, in the case where he had double avelos plus an extenuating circumstance, that's what the Brisa meant to teach us, that it was permitted for him to cut his hair normally with a scissor. Amar Chizda, you see from here, a mourner may not launder his clothing. So when the 7th day is Erev Regel, according to Abishal, he's allowed to cut his hair because he's mixed Yom Kikul. Rabbanan don't agree with that. What if the 7th day is Shabbos? So according to Abishal, theoretically he's able to cut his hair because the morning is finished because Yom Kikul. Rabbanan would disagree. However, even Abishal wouldn't allow practically because Shabbos you can't cut your hair. What about when the 8th day is Erev Regel, whether Shabbos or the weekday? So they would both allow, as we said before, because either Abishal said mixing Yom Kikulo, Shiva and Shloshim are finished, or even Rabbanan agree when it's on Shabbos, and obviously that he can do it on Friday during the week. Even according to the rabbis, of course, he can cut his hair on the 8th day because he's finished now 7 days, and the Shloshim is wiped out of the right. Now, what about the people cutting the hair on Chol Moed? It follows from their opinions we said before. According to Abishal, since he had a chance beforehand, he's not allowed to do it on Chol Moed. According to the Rabbanan, it was just also because of mourning. And even when the 7th day falls on Shabbos, according to the rabbis, it's still forbidden because his mourning is continued. As opposed to Abishal, it'll be permitted. His mourning's finished, and he had no chance beforehand because it was Shabbos, and therefore he's allowed to cut his hair on Chol Moed. The 8th day is a regular, since he's allowed to cut his hair beforehand, he's not allowed to cut his hair on Chol Moed. The words for this week are Rami is to throw down, or to raise a contradiction. By me, he asked the question, Odilmos, or maybe, Tanina, we learn in Brisa, Ilema, if you would say, Hatanya, but a Brisa taught. The daf has Ramis throw down. Tanina, we learned in Brisa. Hatanya, we was taught in Brisa. Takeaways are that Nazir and Mazor are allowed to cut their hair, even if they had a chance beforehand. The mourner is the who starts his shloshim, and then the regular comes and breaks it, and then he's allowed to cut his hair. If he had a chance to do so before Chol Moed, he's not allowed to cut his hair on Chol Moed, and someone has a double mourning, he's allowed to cut his hair with a razor, but if he has an extenuating circumstance as well, he's allowed to cut his hair normally with a scissor.